Flights are $1,000 each. If you cannot afford it, stay behind. My mother's voice came through the phone speaker cold and sharp, like she was talking to a stranger instead of her own daughter. I was standing in my kitchen, coffee cup halfway to my lips, frozen by the casual cruelty in her tone. This was supposed to be about a family vacation to Hawaii, a chance to reconnect. But the way she said it made me feel like I was applying for permission to exist in her world. I nodded even though she could not see me. I am 28 years old. I make $75,000 a year as a project manager. I should be able to afford a $1,000 plane ticket. But the way she phrased it, the way she waited for my response like she expected me to fail, made my stomach twist. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed against my ear. A notification. I pulled it away to glance at the screen and my heart stopped. Transaction alert. $4,200. Hawaiian Airlines. Business class tickets. 4 tickets. I had not bought any tickets. My hands started shaking. I switched back to the call with my mother. She was still talking, something about hotel reservations and dinner plans, but I could not hear her anymore. All I could hear was the rushing sound of blood in my ears. Someone had used my credit card. $4,200. That was nearly 3 months of careful saving, gone in a single transaction. I opened my banking app with trembling fingers. There it was. 4 business class tickets to Honolulu. Purchased 17 minutes ago. I did not do this. I scrolled through the transaction details. The purchase was made from a saved device. A saved device meant someone had used my phone before, had stored my card information, had been planning this. And then I remembered. 3 weeks ago, my mother had asked to borrow my phone because hers was dead. She had taken it into the bathroom. 15 minutes. I thought she was just making a call. My finger hovered over the screen. Then, without letting myself think too hard about what this meant, I hit dispute all and locked my account. I stood in my kitchen for a full minute after ending the call with my mother, trying to process what had just happened. The bank's automated system confirmed my dispute had been received. The charge would be reversed within 5 to 7 business days. My card was locked. No one could use it now. But the sick feeling in my stomach would not go away. My mother had stolen from me. My own mother had saved my credit card information without my knowledge and charged $4,200 to my account. For tickets. For herself, my father, my sister Emily, and Emily's boyfriend Garrett. She had planned this. She had asked about the family trip casually, months ago. She had borrowed my phone. She had waited until the perfect moment, and then she had taken what she wanted. I needed to know for sure. I called the bank's fraud hotline, my hands still shaking. A representative named Jessica answered after 3 rings. I explained the situation as calmly as I could. She pulled up my account. The transaction was processed at 9:47 this morning, Jessica said, from a device that had been previously authorized. Do you recognize the device? My mother's face flashed in my mind, holding my phone, disappearing into the bathroom. Yes, I said. I know whose device it was. Jessica walked me through the dispute process. The charge would be investigated. Hawaiian Airlines would be contacted. If they could not provide proof that I authorized the purchase, the money would be returned. But it could take up to 30 days. 30 days. I had bills due in 2 weeks. Rent, student loans, car insurance. I had been living paycheck to paycheck, carefully budgeting every dollar. $4,200 was not spare change for me. It was survival money. I thanked Jessica and hung up. Then I sat down on my kitchen floor, my back against the cabinet, and tried to decide what to do next. Part of me wanted to pretend this never happened, to let the bank handle it quietly, to avoid the confrontation. But a bigger part of me, the part that had been swallowing my feelings for 28 years, knew I could not let this go. I had to call her. I had to hear her admit what she had done. I dialed my mother's number. She answered on the second ring. What now, Muriel? Her voice was annoyed, distracted. I am busy packing. I took a deep breath. Mom, did you use my credit card to buy plane tickets? Silence. 3 seconds that felt like 3 hours. Then, in that same cold voice, she said, Yes, I did. So what? I could not believe it. She admitted it, just like that. No apology, no shame, Just, yes, so what, like it was the most natural thing in the world to steal $4,000 from your daughter. Mom, that is $4,000. I tried to keep my voice steady. You cannot just take my card without asking. She exploded. I am your mother. I raised you for 28 years. I fed you, clothed you, paid for your college. And now you cannot spare $4,000 for a family vacation? I could hear her breathing hard through the phone. I could picture her face, red with righteous anger, convinced she was the victim here. I bought tickets for all of us, she continued. For me, your father, Emily, and Garrett. Business class. Because we deserve nice things, Muriel. And you make $75,000 a year. You are the richest one in this family. It is only fair that you pay. The logic was so twisted, so completely backwards, that I almost laughed. Fair? Stealing from me was fair? Mom, I said slowly. I already disputed the charge and locked my card. The tickets will be canceled. I heard something crash in the background. You did what? I disputed the charge. The bank is investigating it as fraud. How dare you? Her voice climbed higher. I already told the whole family we are going to Hawaii. You are making me look like a liar. You are a liar, I wanted to say. But I bit my tongue. This was already spiraling out of control. My mother's voice changed then. It dropped low, cold, dangerous. Fine. If you do not cancel that dispute right now, you are no longer my daughter. The words hit me like a physical blow. I had heard her say cruel things before. I had heard her threaten and manipulate. But this was different. This was an ultimatum. Choose her or choose myself. Mom, you stole from me. I cannot just let this go. Stole? Stole? She was screaming now. I am your mother. Mothers do not steal from their children. You are ungrateful, selfish, and cruel. She kept going, her words blurring together into one long accusation. I always knew you were cold, Muriel, but I never thought you would betray your own family like this. I felt the familiar guilt starting to creep in, the voice in my head that said maybe she was right, maybe I was being selfish. But then I thought about my bank account, about the bills I needed to pay, about the fact that she had planned this, had lied to me, had stolen from me. I am sorry you feel that way, Mom, but my answer is no. She hung up. The dial tone buzzed in my ear. I sat there on my kitchen floor, tears running down my face, and wondered if I had just lost my mother, or if I had never really had her to begin with. 15 minutes passed. I washed my face, made a cup of tea, tried to convince myself that this was over, that she would calm down, that we could move past this. Then my phone rang again. Dad. My stomach sank. I stared at his name on the screen, debating whether to answer. Finally, on the 5th ring, I picked up. But before I could say hello, there was a knock on my door. Loud, insistent. I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. My father stood on the other side, his face tired and drawn. He must have been calling me from the hallway. I hung up the phone and opened the door. My father walked into my apartment without waiting for an invitation. He did not hug me, did not say hello, just walked straight to my small dining table and sat down heavily in one of the chairs. He looked like he had aged 10 years since I last saw him 2 months ago. Your mom is very upset, Muriel, he said, rubbing his face with both hands. I closed the door and stayed standing. I know, Dad, but she used my credit card without permission. That is theft. He shook his head slowly. It is not theft when it is family, honey. Your mom just wanted to do something nice for everyone. Nice for everyone? I could hear my voice getting higher. Dad, she charged $4,000 to my card without asking me. How is that nice? But you make good money. He gestured around my apartment. You live alone in this nice place. Surely you can afford it. This nice place was a 1-bedroom apartment in a mediocre neighborhood. I furnished it with second-hand furniture and clearance sale finds. I could afford it, barely, because I budgeted carefully and never bought anything I did not absolutely need. But to my father, who still lived in the same small house he had bought 30 years ago, it looked luxurious. That is not the point, I said. The point is she took the money without asking. My father sighed. Your mom told everyone you offered to pay for the whole family. She said it was your idea, a gift to us. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. What? He nodded. She posted about it on Facebook this morning, before she bought the tickets. She told everyone you were treating us to a family vacation in Hawaii. Aunt Helen called to thank you. Uncle Richard said he was proud of you. Your grandmother is telling everyone at church about her generous granddaughter. I grabbed my phone and opened Facebook with shaking hands. There it was, posted 2 hours ago, while I was still getting ready for work, before she even called me about the trip. The post read, "So excited for our family trip to Hawaii. My wonderful daughter Muriel is treating us all to business class tickets. I raised such a generous girl." 47 likes, 23 comments, all of them praising me. Aunt Helen, you are so blessed to have such a thoughtful daughter. Cousin Jenny, wow, Muriel, that is amazing. Random family friends, what a wonderful gift. I felt sick. She had set this up. She had announced it publicly so that when I refused to pay, I would look like the bad guy. Like I had promised something and then backed out. She had manipulated everyone into thinking this was my idea. Just cancel the dispute, Muriel. My father's voice was gentle but firm. It is easier for everyone. Easier for who? I looked at him. Not for me. I do not have $4,000 to just give away, Dad. Your mother said you make $75,000 a year. Before taxes, I said. Do you know what my rent is? My student loans? My car payment? My insurance? I have maybe $500 left at the end of each month, after all my bills. That $4,000 was 3 months of savings. My father looked uncomfortable. Well, your mother already told everyone. If you do not pay now, people will think you are a liar. So I should pay $4,000 to protect Mom's lie? He stood up. You are being stubborn. This is going to tear the family apart. Mom tore it apart when she stole from me. He walked to the door. I hope you can live with yourself, Muriel. I really do. And then he left. I stood alone in my apartment, feeling the walls close in. This was not over. This was just beginning. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Emily, my 23-year-old sister. I almost did not answer, but she called 3 times in a row, so finally I picked up. She was crying. Muriel, how could you? Mom said you promised to take us to Hawaii. Emily, that is not what happened. I tried to keep my voice calm. Mom used my credit card without asking me. I never promised anything. You are lying. She was sobbing now. Mom would never steal. You are just being cheap. I am not lying. I pulled up my bank app, took a screenshot of the transaction. I am sending you proof right now. I do not care about your stupid screenshot. This was supposed to be my dream vacation with Garrett. We were going to get engaged on the beach, and you ruined it. My heart sank. Mom promised you what? Through her tears, Emily told me everything. Our mother had been planning this for months. She had promised Emily a 5-star resort, beachfront suite, romantic dinners, snorkeling excursions, spa days. She had told Emily that I was paying for everything because I wanted to make up for missing Emily's college graduation last year. I had missed the graduation because I was in the hospital with appendicitis. I was in surgery while Emily walked across the stage. I had apologized 100 times, sent flowers, sent money. But apparently, it was not enough. Apparently, I owed her a $10,000 vacation to make up for it. Emily, I said carefully, I never agreed to any of this. Mom is lying to you. No, you are lying. You have always been jealous of me. You have always wanted to ruin my happiness. She hung up. I stared at my phone, shocked. Jealous? Of what? I had never been anything but supportive of Emily. I had helped her with homework, driven her to college orientations, co-signed her first apartment lease. And this was what I got in return? My phone kept ringing. Unknown numbers. Probably relatives. I did not answer. I could not handle any more attacks today. Then, I saw the email notification. From my bank. Subject line. Important update on your dispute case. I opened it with trembling hands. The first line made my chest tight. Dear Miss Muriel Thompson, your dispute has been processed. The merchant has been notified, and the charge will be reversed within 5 to 7 business days. Relief flooded through me. The money was coming back. I was safe. But 10 minutes later, another email arrived. From Hawaiian Airlines. Booking cancellation notice. Due to payment dispute, the following reservation has been canceled. 4 business class tickets from Los Angeles to Honolulu. Booking reference number followed. The tickets were gone. My money would be returned. It was over. Except it was not over at all. My phone started ringing at 7:30 the next morning. My mother. I did not answer. She called 6 more times. Each time, I let it go to voicemail. I knew I should probably block her number, but some part of me needed to hear what she had to say. Needed the evidence. I listened to the voicemails while getting ready for work. Each one was worse than the last. You ruined everything. I will never forgive you. You are dead to me. The 4th one. How am I supposed to tell everyone that the trip is canceled? You made me look like a fool. The 6th one. I knew you were selfish, but this is a new low. And the 7th, the last one, delivered in a voice so cold it made me shiver. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. I saved all the voicemails, backed them up to my cloud storage. I had a feeling I was going to need proof of everything. At work, I tried to focus on my projects, but my mind kept wandering. Every time my phone buzzed, my stomach clenched. Finally, during my lunch break, I checked Facebook again. My mother had posted a new status, 5 minutes ago. My hands shook as I read it. The post was long, detailed, accompanied by screenshots of text messages that I knew had been edited. Heartbroken, it began. My daughter Muriel promised to pay for our family vacation to Hawaii. She said it was her gift to us, that she wanted to do something special for the family. We were so excited. I told everyone. We started packing. And then, at the last minute, she called the bank and reported it as fraud. She canceled everything. I do not understand how I raised such a cruel, lying child. I gave her everything. I sacrificed everything for her. And this is how she repays me. Please pray for our family during this difficult time. The screenshots showed text messages between us. But they had been altered, photoshopped. In the fake version, I was promising to pay for the trip, saying I wanted to treat the family, insisting on business class tickets. The real messages had been about something completely different. About maybe planning a trip next year. About checking our schedules. Nothing about me paying. Nothing about promises. But the fake version looked real enough, and people believed it. The comments started rolling in. 89 comments in the first 30 minutes. Aunt Helen, I am shocked. Muriel always seemed so sweet. Uncle Richard, this generation has no respect. When I was her age, I would never treat my mother this way. Cousin Amanda, how could you do this to your own mother, Muriel? She gave you everything. Random family friends joined in. People I had not seen in years. People who did not know me at all. They all had opinions. They all knew I was wrong. Only one person defended me. My cousin Sarah, who I had not spoken to in 5 years. She commented, "There are always 2 sides to every story. Maybe we should hear Muriel's version before judging." My mother replied to Sarah's comment within minutes. "There is no other version. Muriel is lying to cover up her cruelty. She has always been good at manipulating people." I took screenshots of everything. The post, the comments, the fake text messages. I knew I would need proof later. I wanted to respond, to defend myself publicly, to show everyone the real messages, the bank statements, the truth. But something stopped me, some instinct that told me engaging would only make it worse. Instead, I called my best friend, Rachel. She answered on the first ring. "I saw the post," she said before I could speak. "Muriel, that is not true. Tell me that is not true." I told her everything. The stolen card information, the unauthorized charge, the dispute, my mother's threats, the fake screenshots. Rachel was quiet for a long moment. Then, "You need to document everything. Save every message, every email, every voicemail. This is not going to end well." She was right. I spent my lunch break forwarding everything to a separate email account, creating backups, building a paper trail. At 3 o'clock, my boss David called me into his office. My stomach dropped. David was 50 years old, balding, usually kind, but right now he looked serious. "Muriel," he said as I sat down, "I received a concerning phone call this morning." My mouth went dry. "What kind of call?" "A woman claiming to be your mother called the main office line. She told the receptionist she needed to speak to me urgently about you." When I called her back, she said you have been stealing money from your family. She wanted to warn us that you might steal from the company too. I felt the blood drain from my face. She called my work? David nodded. She was very upset, crying. She said you took money from her bank account and refused to return it. She said she just wants her money back, but you are threatening to ruin her financially. She asked if we do background checks on our employees. That is not true. My voice came out shaky. None of that is true. David held up his hand. I believe you, Muriel. You have been with us for 4 years. Your record is perfect. You have never given me any reason to doubt your integrity. But I need you to understand how serious this is. We cannot have employees whose personal lives create liabilities for the company. I told him the truth. All of it. How my mother had stolen my credit card information. How she charged $4,000 without permission. How I had disputed it, and now she was retaliating by trying to destroy my reputation. David listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, I am sorry you are going through this, but you need to resolve this quickly. If she calls again, I will have to document it in your employee file. Do you understand? I understood. One more call from my mother and my job could be at risk. The rest of the day was a blur. I could not concentrate. Every time my desk phone rang, I jumped. Every time someone walked past my cubicle, I wondered if they had seen the Facebook post. If they believed the lies, my personal cell phone would not stop buzzing. Texts from relatives I barely knew. Aunt Carol, very disappointed in you. Cousin Marcus, you should be ashamed. My grandmother Ruth, 88 years old, who I loved more than almost anyone. I do not understand why you would do this, sweetheart. Your mother is heartbroken. I wanted to answer them all, to defend myself. But what was the point? They had already made up their minds. I was the villain in this story. My mother was the victim. Nothing I said would change that. By the time I got home from work, I had 17 missed calls, 42 text messages, and 12 Facebook messages, all of them angry, all of them convinced I had done something terrible. I sat in my dark apartment, too exhausted to even turn on the lights. Maybe I should just pay the money, end this nightmare, make everyone happy. But the moment I thought it, I knew I could not. Because this was not about $4,000 anymore. This was about my mother believing she could take whatever she wanted from me. This was about her using emotional manipulation and public shaming to control me. This was about breaking a pattern that had been going on my entire life. I was not going to give in. I heard something slide under my door. A white envelope. I got up slowly and picked it up. My name was written on the front in careful handwriting. Inside was a letter from a law firm, Hammond and Associates, 3 pages, legal letterhead. My hands started shaking as I read the first line. Notice of intent to sue. My mother was taking me to court. I read the letter 3 times before the words finally sank in. My mother was suing me for $10,000, not $4,000, $10,000, for financial elder abuse and breach of verbal contract. The letter was signed by an attorney named Patricia Hammond. It claimed that I had promised to provide financial support for my family, that I had verbally agreed to pay for a family vacation, that I had then maliciously canceled the trip, causing severe emotional distress to my elderly mother, that I was controlling her finances in an abusive manner. Every word was a lie. But it was written on official legal letterhead. It cited real laws and real statutes. It looked legitimate. I had 14 days to respond. I could not sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Elder abuse was a serious charge. I had read about cases where adult children went to jail for stealing from their parents. Could this happen to me? Could I actually face criminal charges for protecting my own money? At 2 a.m, I started searching online. Financial elder abuse, breach of verbal contract, legal defenses. The more I read, the more terrified I became. Even if I won, even if I proved my innocence, the legal fees could destroy me financially. Lawyers cost hundreds of dollars per hour, court costs, filing fees, expert witnesses. I could easily spend $20,000 defending myself against a baseless lawsuit. At 7 the next morning, exhausted and desperate, I started calling lawyers. The first three told me they did not handle family law disputes. The fourth one, James Porter, agreed to meet with me that afternoon. James Porter's office was small but professional. Diplomas on the wall, law books on shelves. He was 45, graying at the temples, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. I handed him the letter. He read it slowly, his expression neutral. When he finished, he looked up at me. "This is a shakedown," he said simply. I felt a tiny bit of relief. "So she does not have a case?" "Not a legitimate one." He leaned back in his chair. "But that does not mean it will not cost you money and time to fight it. Your mother is hoping you will just pay her to make this go away. How much will it cost to defend myself?" He pulled out a fee schedule. "Consultation is $200 per hour. If we take this to court, you are looking at $15,000 to $25,000 in legal fees. Maybe more if it drags on." I felt sick. "That is more than she is even suing me for." James nodded. "That is the point. She is betting you will settle rather than fight. If you offer her $2,000 or $3,000 right now, she will probably drop the case." "No." The word came out harder than I intended. "I will not pay her a single cent. She stole from me." James studied me for a moment. Then he nodded. "Okay. Then we fight. I will need a retainer of $5,000 to start." $5,000. I had $7,000 in my emergency fund. This would wipe out most of it. But what choice did I have? I wrote the check that afternoon. My hand shook as I signed my name. Over the next week, James and I built my defense. He requested documentation from the bank, copies of my credit card statements, the dispute paperwork, emails from Hawaiian Airlines. He drafted a response to the lawsuit, denying all allegations and filing a counterclaim for harassment. Then Patricia Hammond, my mother's lawyer, sent over her evidence. I sat in James's office as he opened the email. Inside were dozens of screenshots, text messages between my mother and me, but they had been edited, manipulated, photoshopped. One conversation from 3 months ago had been completely altered. The real conversation had been simple. My mother asked if I would be interested in a family trip next year. I said that sounded nice, to let me know the details. In the edited version, my mother asked about a trip costing $4,000 per person, and I supposedly responded, "That sounds nice, Mom. I will pay for everyone." James pulled up my phone. "Do you still have the original messages?" "Yes." I showed him my phone. The real conversation was right there, unedited, in my message history. He took screenshots. "Good. We have proof of fabrication. But Muriel, this means your mother has been planning this for months. This is premeditated." The realization hit me like a truck. She had been setting me up, saving messages, planning her story, waiting for the right moment to strike. This was not about a vacation. This was about money. About control. About punishing me for having boundaries. A few days later, my phone rang at midnight. Emily. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. She was crying so hard she could barely speak. "Muriel, I am so sorry. I am so sorry." "Emily, what happened? Are you okay?" Mom made me lie. She was sobbing. She told me to say, "You promised to pay for everything." She told me exactly what to say. She showed me the fake screenshots and told me to memorize the story. "I am so sorry. Will you testify for me?" My heart was pounding. "Will you tell the truth?" There was a long silence. Then, in a small voice, "I cannot. Mom will disown me. I still live at home. I have nowhere else to go. I am sorry." She hung up. I sat there in the dark, holding my phone, feeling more alone than I had ever felt in my life. But then Emily said something else, something that changed everything. She sent me a text an hour later. "Mom did the same thing to Derek 7 years ago. That is why he never comes around anymore." Derek, my older brother, 35 years old. I had not seen him in 7 years. My mother always said he had abandoned the family, that he was ungrateful and selfish, that he chose his career over his family. But what if that was a lie, too? I found Derek's number through a mutual friend. It took me 2 days to work up the courage to text him. "Derek, this is Muriel. I know it has been a long time. But I need to talk to you about Mom. She is suing me. He responded 10 minutes later. I know. I have been waiting for this call for 7 years. We need to meet. I have a lot to tell you. We met the next evening at a quiet coffee shop across town. When Derek walked in, I barely recognized him. He was tall and thin, with gray hair at his temples that had not been there before. He looked older than 35. He looked tired. But when he hugged me, I started crying. For the first time since this nightmare began, I did not feel alone. Derek and I sat in a corner booth, 2 cups of coffee between us, and he told me everything. 7 years ago, when he was 28, our mother came to him with a business opportunity. She wanted to open a nail salon. She said she needed $15,000 to get started. She promised it was an investment, not a gift. She would pay him back within 2 years once the business was profitable. Derek trusted her. He gave her the money. It was everything he had saved over 4 years of working 2 jobs. His entire emergency fund. Gone. For 6 months, he said, stirring his coffee absently. I would ask about the salon. She kept saying it was still in the permitting process, that the city was being difficult, that it was taking longer than expected. What happened? A year went by. I asked to see paperwork, business licenses, lease agreements, anything. She got angry, said I did not trust her, said a good son would not question his mother. I could see the pain in his eyes. This was not just about money. This was about betrayal. After 18 months, I started doing my own research. I checked business registrations, looked for any LLC or DBA under her name. There was nothing. No nail salon, no business permits, no lease. Nothing. My stomach turned. She never opened a salon. Derek shook his head. When I confronted her, she admitted it. Said she had lost the money in a bad investment. Some multi-level marketing scheme. She had planned to make it back before I noticed, but it did not work out. She said she was sorry, but there was nothing she could do. The money was gone. Did she offer to pay you back? He laughed bitterly. I asked for a payment plan, even just $100 a month. Something. She refused. Said the money was a gift, not a loan. Said I should have known she could not guarantee a return on investment. But you had it in writing that it was a loan? Derek pulled out his phone and showed me old text messages. Clear evidence that this was a loan, that she had promised to repay. Black and white proof. When I pressed her, Derek continued, she sued me. Same lawyer, Patricia Hammond. Same accusations. Elder financial abuse. She claimed I was controlling her money. That I was harassing her for funds she did not owe. That I was causing her emotional distress. I felt dizzy. This was exactly what she was doing to me. Derek fought back. It took 2 years and cost him $32,000 in legal fees. He won the case because he had overwhelming evidence. But he never got the $15,000 back. Our mother filed for bankruptcy right after the judgment. The debt was discharged. So you lost everything. $47,000 total. His voice was hollow. But the worst part was not the money. Dad sided with her. Emily was too young to understand, but she believed Mom's version. The whole family turned against me, called me a liar, a thief, said I was trying to steal from my poor mother. I had to cut everyone off just to survive. Derek reached into his messenger bag and pulled out a thick folder. I saved everything. Court documents, bank statements, expert testimony. He slid it across the table. There is something in here you need to see. I opened the folder. Inside were hundreds of pages, legal filings, email chains, and then I saw it, a psychological evaluation. During the trial, Derek explained, the judge ordered a psych eval. She had to be assessed by a forensic psychologist, someone who specialized in family financial abuse cases. I read the report. The psychologist had diagnosed our mother with strong indicators of narcissistic personality disorder with manipulative tendencies. The report noted a pattern of exploiting family members financially while maintaining a victim narrative. It described her as highly skilled at manipulation, capable of presenting herself as helpless and wronged while actively harming others. She will never change, Derek said quietly. She cannot. This is who she is. She sees people, even her own children, as resources to be used. When you stop being useful, or when you set boundaries, she discards you, and then she punishes you for daring to protect yourself. I sat there, staring at the psychological report, and everything clicked into place. Every guilt trip, every manipulation, every time she had made me feel small, or selfish, or wrong for having needs. It was all part of a pattern. You need rock-solid evidence, Derek told me. Document everything. Save every text, every email, every voicemail. Get witnesses if you can. Do not let her gaslight you into thinking you are crazy. You are not crazy. She is abusive. We talked for 3 more hours. Derek told me stories I had never heard. Times she had manipulated him as a child. Times she had pitted us against each other. Times she had rewritten history to make herself the victim. By the time I left the coffee shop, I felt something I had not felt in weeks. Not quite hope, but determination. I was not going to let her win. When I got home that night, something felt wrong. My apartment looked normal at first glance, but small things were off. A drawer not quite closed. Papers in my file cabinet slightly out of order. My laptop moved 2 inches to the left. I checked my security camera. I had installed a small one the week before, hidden on a bookshelf, after my mother's lawyer had asked for financial documents. I had a bad feeling she might try something. The footage showed my father entering my apartment at 2:15 that afternoon. He had a key, a spare key I had given him years ago for emergencies. He was inside for 47 minutes. I watched him go through my desk, my files. He tried to open my laptop but could not get past the password. He took photos of documents with his phone, bank statements, tax returns, pay stubs. He was gathering evidence for my mother's case. I felt sick. Not just my mother. My father, too. Both of them were working together to destroy me. I called James immediately. He told me to file a police report for trespassing, but I hesitated. He is my father, I said. He is also helping your mother build a false case against you. You need to protect yourself, Muriel. That night, I had the locks changed. It cost $350 I did not have, but I could not risk another break-in. I sat on the floor next to my newly secured door and cried. Not sad tears, angry tears. Tears of frustration and betrayal and exhaustion. But underneath the tears, something else was growing. A steel core of determination. I was done being the victim in this story. It was time to fight back. I spent the next week building my case with James. We gathered everything. Bank statements showing the unauthorized charge, emails from Hawaiian Airlines, screenshots of my mother's Facebook posts with their timestamps, the fake text messages compared to the real ones from my phone's backup, the security footage of my father breaking into my apartment, Derek's entire court file from 7 years ago, the psychological evaluation of my mother, Emily's tearful text admitting she had been told to lie. James looked at the mountain of evidence and smiled. This is good. This is really good. Your mother's lawyer is going to have a very bad day when she sees this. We sent everything to Patricia Hammond in one massive document package. Along with it, James included a letter. It was polite but firm. It detailed every piece of evidence we had. It showed proof that my mother had fabricated text messages. It included the security footage of my father's break-in. It referenced the previous lawsuit against Derek. It cited the psychological evaluation. The letter ended with a warning. If Patricia Hammond continued to pursue this frivolous lawsuit, James would report her to the State Bar Association for knowingly filing false claims and using fabricated evidence. 3 days later, we got a response. A single-page letter from Patricia Hammond. After reviewing new evidence that has come to light, our firm is withdrawing representation in this matter effective immediately. We wish you the best in resolving this family dispute. I read the letter twice. Your mother's lawyer quit? James grinned. She saw the evidence. She knows this case is garbage. If she kept going and we exposed the fake screenshots in court, she could lose her license. She is protecting herself. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. It was over. My mother had no lawyer. The lawsuit would fall apart. But I should have known better. 2 days later, I received a new notice. My mother had filed an amended lawsuit, this time representing herself. Pro se, it was called, and she had increased her demand to $75,000. She was not giving up. That night, my mother called. I almost did not answer, but I had learned from Derek. Evidence was everything. I hit record on my phone and answered. She did not even say hello, just started screaming. You think you are so smart? You think you won? I will take everything from you. Mom, I am recording this call. I do not care. Record all you want. The truth is you are a selfish, ungrateful brat who stole from her own mother. I never stole from you. I kept my voice calm. You stole from me. I took what was mine. She was shrieking now. I raised you. Every dollar you earn is because of me. If I had not fed you and clothed you and sent you to college, you would have nothing. Nothing. I let her rant. I asked careful questions, drew her out, got her to admit everything. So you did use my credit card without permission? Of course I did. I had every right to. You are my daughter. What is yours is mine. The call lasted 12 minutes. By the end, she had confessed to everything, using my card, editing the screenshots, telling the family I had promised to pay, even calling my workplace to try to get me fired. When she finally ran out of steam and hung up, I saved the recording in 3 different places: cloud storage, external hard drive, emailed to myself. Then I met with James again. We listened to the recording together. When it ended, he looked at me with something like awe. This is a prosecutor's dream. She admitted to everything: identity theft, fraud, defamation, witness tampering. This recording alone would win your case. So what do? We go on the offensive. James filed a countersuit. We sued my mother for identity theft, fraud, defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and harassment. We asked for damages to cover my legal fees, the time I had missed from work dealing with this nightmare, and compensation for the damage to my reputation. We also sent a formal complaint to the credit card fraud division of my bank, with all the evidence. The bank launched their own investigation. And then, on James's advice, I did something I had been afraid to do. I filed a police report. The police were not enthusiastic. The officer who took my statement sighed and said, "This is really a family matter. We do not usually prosecute credit card fraud between relatives. Have you tried talking to her?" "I have," I said. "She threatened to destroy my life unless I gave her money. That is why I am here." He took the report, but I could tell he was not going to pursue it. To him, this was just a family squabble, not real crime. I left the police station feeling defeated. The system was not going to help me. If I wanted justice, I would have to fight for it myself. That evening, Derek and Emily came to my apartment. Emily had finally moved out of our parents' house. She was staying with a friend, sleeping on a couch, but she was free. "I cannot do this anymore," Emily said. Her eyes were red from crying. "Mom is getting worse. She is planning to increase the lawsuit to $100,000 now. She said if she wins, she will split the money with me and Dad." Emily had brought something with her, a USB drive. On it were dozens of text messages from our mother, instructions on what to say, scripts to follow, plans for how to make me look bad. There were also voice recordings, secret recordings Emily had made of our parents discussing strategy. In one recording, our mother said clearly, "We just need to make Muriel look unstable. If we can show she has been acting erratically, the judge will believe our version." "This is evidence of conspiracy," James said when I showed him later. "This is huge." But there was something else on the USB drive. Financial records. Emily had found them in our mother's desk. Bank statements showing our mother had over $40,000 in credit card debt. Loan documents for money she had borrowed from other relatives. A spreadsheet titled Family Money where she had tracked who owed her what, except none of these people actually owed her anything. It was a fantasy ledger. Debts she had made up in her head. Our mother was not just manipulative. She was in serious financial trouble, and she had been planning to use me as her way out. With all this new evidence, James sent another package to the court. This time we included everything: the recordings, the financial documents, Emily's testimony. We filed for an emergency restraining order to stop my mother from contacting me, my employer, or anyone in my professional network. The judge granted it. Temporary restraining order, valid for 60 days, with a hearing scheduled to make it permanent. My mother was forbidden from coming within 500 feet of me, from calling me, from posting about me online. If she violated it, she would be arrested. For the first time in 2 months, I felt safe. But I still had one more thing to do. The most important thing. I needed to tell the truth publicly. I needed to take back my story. Derek and Emily sat with me as I typed out a long Facebook post. We worked on it together, choosing every word carefully, making sure it was factual, making sure it could not be twisted. When it was finished, I read it one more time. Then I hit post. The post went live at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday night. I titled it simply, "It is time to tell the truth." I wrote everything: the unauthorized credit card charge, the fake screenshots my mother had created, the lawsuit, the break-in, the harassment. I included evidence. Screenshots of the real messages versus the doctored ones, placed side by side, the bank statement showing the disputed charge, the court documents from Derek's case 7 years ago, the temporary restraining order, a transcript of the phone call where my mother admitted everything. I tagged everyone who had commented on my mother's original post. Every family member who had condemned me without asking for my side of the story. I did not do it to be cruel. I did it because they deserved to know the truth. I ended the post with this: I am not looking for sympathy. I am not looking for apologies. I am sharing this because I want people to know the truth. My mother has a pattern of financial exploitation. She did this to my brother Derek 7 years ago, and the family turned against him. She is doing this to me now. I will not be silent anymore. If you have been manipulated by her, if she has taken money from you, if she has lied to you, please know that you are not alone. And please know that it is not your fault. This is who she is. Within an hour, the post had 200 views. Within 6 hours, 1,500 views and 300 comments. But this time, the comments were different. Aunt Helen was first. "Oh my God, Muriel. I am so sorry. I did not know. I should have asked for your side before judging you." Uncle Richard. "This explains so much. Barbara borrowed $2,000 from me 3 years ago for car repairs. I never saw that money again. When I asked about it, she said I had given it as a gift. Cousin Amanda, I owe you an apology. A big one. I should have listened." But then came messages from people I did not even know. A woman named Susan who had gone to church with my mother. "Your mother asked to borrow $500 for medical bills last year. She said she would pay me back in a month. She never did. When I asked about it, she stopped talking to me." A former neighbor. "Your mom borrowed $1,200 from us to fix her roof. The roof never got fixed. When we asked for the money back, she told the whole neighborhood that we were harassing her." A colleague of my father. "She talked my dad into investing $3,000 in a business opportunity. It was some kind of pyramid scheme. He lost everything." The messages kept coming. 17 people in total. Strangers, friends, family, all with the same story. My mother had borrowed money and never paid it back. She had lied. She had manipulated. She had played the victim when caught. The total was staggering. At least $40,000 she had taken from people over the years. Maybe more. All of it through lies and manipulation. The family turned against her. Not all at once, but steadily. Aunt Helen posted a public apology to both me and Derek. Uncle Richard wrote that he was cutting ties with my mother. Cousins who had condemned me sent private messages asking for forgiveness. Even my grandmother called. She was 88 years old, her voice shaky with age and emotion. "Sweetheart, I am so sorry. I should have believed you. I should have asked questions. I failed you. Grandma, you did not know. But I should have." She was crying. I raised her. I saw the signs. I made excuses. I am so sorry. Within 48 hours, my mother's world had collapsed. She deleted her Facebook account. She stopped answering calls from family members. And then my father called me. I hesitated before answering. But curiosity won. "Muriel," he said. His voice sounded broken. "I need to tell you something." "What?" "I am filing for divorce. After 35 years of marriage, I am done." I did not know what to say. "Your mother has been lying to me too." He sounded exhausted. "I found credit card bills she had hidden. Loans I did not know about. We are $60,000 in debt. I thought we were fine." I thought she was managing our money, but she has been spending recklessly for years and hiding it from me. Dad, I am sorry. No, I am sorry. I should have protected you. I should have protected Derek. I enabled her. I made excuses for her. I helped her hurt you. I will never forgive myself for that. He told me he had moved out. He was staying with a friend. He had hired a lawyer. The divorce would be nasty, but he did not care anymore. He was done being manipulated. I did not feel victorious. I felt sad. Sad that it had come to this. Sad that our family had been destroyed, but also relieved. The truth was out. The nightmare was ending. My mother tried one last desperate move. She filed a motion to dismiss the restraining order, claiming I had defamed her with my Facebook post. But the judge read the evidence, read the recordings, read the testimony from 17 different people she had defrauded. The judge made the restraining order permanent. 5 years. My mother could not contact me at all. If she violated it, she would face criminal charges. The judge also dismissed her lawsuit against me with prejudice, meaning she could never file it again. And because she had filed such a clearly frivolous suit, the judge ordered her to pay my legal fees. All $8,000 of them. My mother filed for bankruptcy 2 weeks later, just like she had done after Derek's case. I would never see that $8,000, but I did not care. I had won something more important than money. I had won my freedom. Emily moved in with me officially. We converted my living room into a bedroom for her. It was cramped, but it worked. She got a job at a coffee shop and started saving money. She started therapy. She started healing. Derek became a regular part of my life again. We had dinner every Thursday. We talked about everything. Our childhood, our mother, our trauma, our healing. After 7 years of silence, I had my brother back. I learned how to set boundaries, real boundaries. I learned that no is a complete sentence, that I do not owe anyone an explanation for protecting myself, that family is not an excuse for abuse. I went to therapy too. I worked through the guilt, the feeling that I should have tried harder, should have been more understanding, should have given her another chance. My therapist helped me see that I had given her dozens of chances. Hundreds. That at some point, protecting myself was not selfish. It was survival. My mother tried to contact me once, 6 months later. She created a fake Facebook account and sent me a message. All it said was, "You destroyed this family. I hope you are happy." I did not respond. I reported the account. It was deleted within hours. I never heard from her again. A year after everything happened, I sat in my apartment with Derek and Emily. We were celebrating Emily's birthday, just the three of us, small and quiet and perfect. Derek raised his glass, to boundaries, to truth, and to chosen family. We clinked our glasses together. I looked at my brother and sister, the people who had stood by me when it mattered, and I felt something I had not felt in a long time. Peace. My life was not perfect. I still had student loans. My apartment was still small. I still struggled with money sometimes. But I was free. Free from manipulation. Free from guilt. Free from the constant feeling that I was never enough. I learned that family is not just about blood. It is about who shows up for you, who tells you the truth, who respects your boundaries. Derek and Emily were my real family. Along with Rachel, my best friend who had believed me from the start. Along with my grandmother who had apologized and meant it. 1 year later, I received a letter. Not from my mother, from my father. He had finalized his divorce. He was living in a small apartment across town. He wanted to know if I would be willing to have coffee with him. No pressure, no expectations, just a chance to talk. I thought about it for a week. Then I said yes. We met at a neutral coffee shop. He looked older, grayer, but also lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted. "I made a lot of mistakes," he said. "I should have protected you and Derek. I should have seen what your mother was doing. I am sorry." It was not a perfect apology, but it was honest, and it was a start. We did not fix everything that day. We did not even fix most things, but we talked, really talked. And I left feeling like maybe, someday, we could build something new, something healthier. As for my mother, I heard updates through the family grapevine. She had moved to another state. She had burned through her bridges in our hometown. She was alone. Part of me felt sorry for her, but most of me felt nothing. She made her choices. She hurt people. She refused to change, and now she was living with the consequences. I made my choices too. I chose to protect myself. I chose to tell the truth. I chose to build a life with people who actually loved me. And I chose to be free. Now, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to set boundaries with a family member who refused to respect them? Have you ever been accused of being selfish just for protecting yourself? How did you handle it? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, if you have been through something similar or know someone who has, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more true stories about family, boundaries, and healing. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is let people know they are not alone. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. I know it was not easy to hear, but I hope it gave you something. Hope, maybe, or validation, or just the knowledge that you can survive betrayal and come out stronger on the other side. Take care of yourselves. Protect your peace. And remember that you do not owe anyone access to your life just because you share DNA. Family is what you make it. Until next time, stay strong.